Hold still! This is for science! You said that about the trebuchet? That bolt cost 3 days' wages. The armor didn't notice. Refund? For 1,000 years, humans kept patching the same build problem. How to not die when someone hits you. Some of those patches were so broken, battles ended because the other team couldn't do damage. Today, we rank them. 7 builds, real stats, and 1 test night. Wait, 7? Patch notes open, worst to first. First build, the cosmetic skin. Every stat point went into charisma, which is a bold allocation because charisma has never once stopped an arrow. It comes with a matching horse. The horse also can fight. Kings commissioned this for triumphs and weddings. It's armored the way a wedding cake is bred. Stat check. I can see! I'm beautiful! But I can see! Now, field test. Gladly. It went through an engraving of me winning a battle. And here is the twist. Some jousting suits were actually thicker than warplate. They overspat so hard for one minigame that the build can't reach the arena without a horse and 2 assistants. But the gold ones? Pure microtransaction. Financing available, your grandchildren inherit the debt. Verdict, it's not an armor, it's a profile picture. F tier. I looked amazing though! Entry 2. The launch version build. Bronze. Quick scoring note, because from here the build stopped being free kills. 3 checks. How hard it carried its own patch, how long it stayed in the meta, and whether anyone poorer than a king could buy one. The Dendra Panoply is the oldest complete suit of armor humans have ever dug up. Hammered bronze plates from neck to thighs, a helmet come for 40 boar tusks, 18 kilos total, more coverage than anyone would wear again for almost 3,000 years. Is it a well bucket? And in its patch, it was flatly broken because the matchup spread was bronze versus people wearing confidence and the occasional oxhide shield. Back then, we called it the meta, also the only. Now, stat check. Cost 10, and that's not a typo. Bronze needs tin, and the nearest tin mine was usually in a different kingdom, sometimes on a different continent. Shipping not included. Now let's do a field test. On an antique? Gladly. It held! I can't breathe, but it held! And before you laugh at the boiler, in 2024 they put a replica on actual marines and it survived 11 hours of Bronze Age combat protocol. The boiler works! The boiler works! And it ships with a mount, because this was chariot gear. You ride in, you throw spears on the platform, and the horse handles all the cardio. Finally, a build with a mount. Then the chariot stops. Sir, you upside down. I'm aware what. Then the iron update dropped. Bronze didn't get nerfed. Iron was just cheap enough to hand everyone gear. The exploit died the day the servers filled up. Verdict? Carry 10, uptime 2 centuries and a museum. Price? A kingdom? C tier, and respect the founder. Entry 3, and it's the most famous armor that almost nobody actually wore. Say Roman soldier, you picture these steel bands, movie armor, Lego armor, and in the actual legions, the minority skin. Dicks keep turning up mail and scale everywhere the empire went, while the bands cluster around 1 century, and mostly in the west. Dig sites keep coughing up crates of spare Segmentata parts, entire repair kits buried mid-fix. Today we sold 3 parts. The review said, rusts if a cloud looks at it. Which is real, Segmentata needs constant maintenance. Every plate hangs on internal leather straps and brass fittings, and when a strap rots, and it always rots. The whole shoulder assembly goes offline. High damage uptime, brutal repair costs. Now stat check. Excellent cut and blunt spread over the shoulders, because that's what banded steel buys you. A slash lands on one plate, the plate hands the energy to its neighbor, and your collarbone files no complaint. Let's do a field test. The shoulder line, the exact part this build is famous for. Testing the famous part! 34 plates per suit, and the whole system is exactly as strong as its weakest shoelace. The shoulder's fine, the strap holding the shoulder just left. So after barely 2 centuries, Rome quietly rolled the legions back to mail, which costs more hours to make, but a soldier can fix it at camp with pliers and patience. Nobody announced anything. The poster build just stopped appearing in the patch notes. The Roman version of a silent nerf. Verdict: carry, strong. Uptime: barely 2 centuries. Then a silent rollback. Price: fine, but the repairs are not. C tier, next to Grandpa. It is the action figure of armor! Now we have 2 C's on the board. The bar is officially on the floor. Entry 4. The free starter gear everyone skips in the shop, and nobody who tried it ever respects out. Quilted linen stuffed with tow and old rags stitched into ribs. It's me! I'm the build! 30 layers of quilted linen. A sword swing hits it like a fist hits a mattress. Each layer slides and bunches under the edge, eating the cut before it ever reaches skin. The same physics that lets a folded towel stop a kitchen knife. Laugh at the pajamas are load-bearing. For centuries this was the armor of the common soldier, and some kingdoms legally required householders to own one. Point blank test? Please no! Now, it won't tank a Botkin point for free, you saw the bar, but into cut damage? 30 layers of linen performs like gear 10 times its price. If you're a peasant main, this is the only item in the shop, and it's honestly fine. I lift! And the real cheat. Knights wore one under everything else. Mail bites into cloth instead of your ribs. Plate rides on a padding instead of a bone. The free starter gear is inside every endgame build like a hidden passive. Now, the stat check. Cost 1. Style 2. What disputes the style number though? Price check 1. Where plate costs a farm, this costs a few days of wages. Bestseller, 0 refund requests, all customers alive or dead from unrelated causes. It also pads the hit itself. Cloth spreads impact the metal alone hands straight to your bones. Which is why every armor after this one is really 2 armors. The metal that you see and the pillow underneath doing half the work. Why is the free item? Cozy. Verdict: carry is modest, uptime is every era and every continent, and price is literally 1. The sleeper pick is B tier and it carries half this list from the inside. We have 4 builds in, and the cheapest one is right now winning on points. Entry 5. The 1000-Year Warhorse. The longest serving armor design in human history. Riveted iron rings, tens of thousands of them, every single one closed with its own rivet, because unriveted rings pop open like cheap keychains. A wearable chain link fence, and I mean that as a compliment. Against a cut, it is a hard counter. The edge cannot win anything to bite. Every ring it touches slides, turns, and splits the force with the 4 neighbors. A slash just donates its energy to the weave. Modern testers who put replica mail on a gel torso measure scratches where wounds should be. Watch the damage feed. Slash, 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 and 0, 0, 0. That is a hard counter in real time. Are you done? My arms are tired. So weakness 1. Pierce. A narrow point does not fight the weave. It borrows a gap, spreads 2 rings apart, and delivers the whole hit to 1 square centimeter. Weakness 2. Blunt. A mace does not care about the weave at all. The energy arrives as 1 packet, and the packet's delivery address is your skeleton, which is why the mail era ran on broken bones under unbroken armor. Nothing got through! Everything hurts though! That is why the Gambeson passive goes underneath. Mail answers the blade, Cloth answers the club, and together they cover 2 corners of the triangle for the price of 1.5. Now stat check. Comfort 5, because 12 kilos hang entirely off your shoulders until someone teaches you to belt it. Health, Legions, Crusaders, the guys who went back to it after Segmentata. From the 3rd century BC to the 16th AD, somebody somewhere was buying mail, the longest lived service run in armor history. We do birthday discounts, it has had 1,000 birthdays. Now verdict. In carry, it is hard counter to cut. In uptime, it has 1,000 years, the record. And for the price, it's honest, so A tier, it's the reliable main armor. Entry 6, the hybrid value build, and quietly the best dressed thing on this list. Dozens of small steel plates riveted inside a cloth jacket overlapping like roof tiles, so the whole thing flexes like a doublet and stops like a breastplate. 15th century inventories list this by the hundred. Armor you could actually mass order. Outside, fashion, inside, nothing. Under the velvet, nobody can count your plates. Kings wore those under silk. Several assassins filed complaints. For the knight who wants protection without looking rich to tax collectors. Flexible where plate is stiff, tougher where mail is soft. It splits the damage triangle instead of hard countering one corner. The design philosophy is giving away the perfect chance to buy 7s and 8s everywhere, in a world where most people on the field are walking around with 0s. Now, field test. 3 balls because 1 data point is for amateurs. Rapid volley! The armpit is the tax every jacket armor pays. You cannot play the joint, you still need to swing. 1 got the seam. Which seam? The me seam. Mass producible and repairable by a tailor, plus a blacksmith. A bent plate means unpick a seam, swap the plate, sew it shut, no forge, no fitting, no 3-month wait. Worn from a man-at-arms to kings, and it survived into the age of early guns as good as enough. Now stat check. Notice the spread, nothing is below 5. This is what balance looks like. Now verdict. Carry, no weakness to exploit, and uptime is whole century and then some. Price is mid-range. It's definitely A tier, the student who shows up to every battle. Can I keep it? I want to keep it. Now only S left. You already hear it coming. Entry 7, the Endgame. The build that every other entry on this list was secretly a draft of. Full articulated steel, about 25 kilos on the scale, and the myth says you could not move in it. The myth is wrong. Trained men in replicas run obstacle courses, climb ladders, get up off the ground. A fit knight could run, mount, even cartwheel. For science! The trick is distribution. The cuirass carries the chest, the greaves carry themselves. Nothing hangs off your shoulders the way mail does. Less awkward than a modern soldier's pack. And no knights were not craned on the horses. That one is a Victorian invention. Cutting damage just stops existing against this build. And pierce armor is called a glancing surface. There is no flat square anywhere on a good suit, so an arrow has nowhere to land. Every surface is engineered to turn a direct hit into a glancing animation. That was a real career path, by the way. Crossbowmen against slate plate were having a bad century. I'm switching mains. So the counter meta invented new damage. Period fighting manuals literally teach wrestling in armor. Half swording, grappling, dagger work into the joints, plus warhammers, polyaxes, and the noble art of tackling a knight into mud and finding his visor slit. Contemporary accounts describe late plate knights walking through arrow storms like weather. The arrows are not a threat anymore, the mud is. They cannot hurt me, and I cannot hear them. Peace at last. Now stat check. Look at this nonsense. Cut is 10, Pierce is 9. The first build on this list where the damage triangle just gives up. So why did it die? Not the soft knights, economics, and gunpowder. A suit like this was tailored to your body like a wedding dress and cost more than a farm. And a musket ball ignores your curves while a pikeman costs 100th of a knight. By the 1600s, a breastplate was something you bought to stop a pistol ball, stamped with a proof dent to prove it could. The margins, Reginald, the margins. Verdict: carry is unkillable. Uptime, right until the update called gunpowder. Price is unaffordable, and here the formula bans, because when carry is this broken, pay to win wins. So S tier. 7 builds ranked. One question left. What was all this metal actually for? Final board. Read it as one patch history. Every build here is somebody's best answer to the same question. How expensive is your life? The free pajamas outranked 2 empires worth of metal, and the win condition was a bank account. Next patch review? The weapons that broke these builds. The Warhammer mains have been waiting. Same board, same test knight, assuming he recovers. Do I get armor next time? No, what? You don't. Like the video if Reginald deserves a raise. Subscribe if you think he would survive in a Gambeson. Most of you would not. He's fine. It's the most OP armor.